On April 4th, 2014, Cardinal Sean O'Malley celebrated Mass in Nogales, Arizona, a small city that borders the Mexican town of Nogales, Sonora, Mexico. The Mass was a beautiful reflection and reminder of God's desire for all his children to love thy neighbor. The Mass was celebrated in both English and Spanish, a conscious decision to reflect that language should not be used as a source of separation amongst God's children. We are a nation of immigrants. We are a nation of equal opportunity and of freedom. The path to setting foot on American soil can be long and arduous. The hopeful arrive in all forms of transportation: plane, train, automobile, boat, and of course, walking. Making the journey to the U.S. is just the beginning. The road to citizenship can be equally as long and arduous. Let's start off with taking a look at what it takes to become a citizen. First, you must make your way into the United States. Once on U.S. soil, you apply for a permanent residence card, also known as a green card. This process is a feat in itself that can take anywhere from 2 months to 11 years. After being a resident in good standing for 5 years, you can apply for citizenship, so long as you have the $695 for the application fee. Once your application is submitted, you set up an interview. The interview process is what makes or breaks your citizenship status. Usually 45 minutes long, the interview consists of going over your entire application and then conducting the infamous citizenship test. The test is made up of 4 parts: a reading component, a writing component, a speaking component, and an orally administered civics test. If you pass the interview portion of the test, then you can officially become a U.S. citizen. And that is a brief summary of what it takes to become a naturalized citizen. Pretty easy, right? Read and write a couple of sentences, answer some questions about America's government and history, and bam! Citizenship status, here we come. There is one minor detail I failed to mention. The test is only administered in English. To the vast majority of citizens born in the U.S., that detail doesn't really make a difference. We grew up speaking English. We were born into a culture that champions English as our country's official language. But the reality is that we don't actually have an official language. We are a nation of diversity, a geographic landscape of 3.8 million square miles, containing over 3 million people. With over 330 languages spoken within America's borders, it is a truly beautiful thing that our federal government does not directly place one language superior to the rest. The USCIS website states the following: America becomes stronger when all of its citizens respect the different opinions, cultures, ethnic groups, and religions found in this country. Tolerance for differences is also a responsibility of citizenship. How does forcing someone to take an already challenging citizenship test in a language they are far from comfortable with display respect and tolerance? Those who struggle with speaking, reading, and writing English only have 2 chances to make their $700 investment worthy. If an applicant fails any portion of the citizenship exam or interview, they are given one last opportunity within 60 to 90 days after the initial interview. If they fail that test a second time, the application is denied and their money will have been wasted. So, I decided to go out and conduct a little experiment. I took a handful of my peers and conducted a mock oral exam of the civics portion of the citizenship test. Take a look at how a few birthright citizens did on their nation's citizenship test.
The president?
The president?
President?
The president? The president.
Women's suffrage movement.
I don't know, she was part of the government.
Pass.
I'm not sure. sure, something with Indians.
Women's rights and civil rights.
She wrote the national anthem.
In 18... I forgot the year.
1780s. It was ratified in 1787.
Constitution, 1776.
1796.
1787. 1783.
The tenement, the Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights.
The 10 Amendments. I don't know. Oh, I know this one. Bill of Rights?
The Bill of Rights.
Nine.
8.
On the Supreme Court, 9.
9.
5.
And the United States. What's the name again? I really forgot the name of it.
Civil War.
Civil War?
Civil War. The Civil War.
Oh, FDR.
Roosevelt.
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower.
Roosevelt.
No idea. The next person in line.
Secretary of State.
The treasurer? I have no idea.
That's a good one. Secretary of State.
Speaker of the House.
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Hillary Clinton.
Isn't that the president?
Don't know.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
John Roberts.
The Nile.
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
The Mississippi.
The Mississippi River.
Stupid.
It wasn't too challenging. If I studied for 10 minutes, I would have done much better.
Oh, I knew all the answers to those questions.
It's sad. Like, I shouldn't be an American according to America.
Terrible.
I'm not allowed to be a citizen, I suppose.
I feel like I knew more stuff than I thought I did.
I feel fine. I still need to know who my Chief Justice is.
That's ridiculous considering English was brought to America.
No, that's not fair.
But since there's no official language in the United States, then no.
I think it's completely fair that it's in English, as it's the primary language of the United States.
If I go to a foreign country, I don't know actually, let me think about that. I guess if you have to be a citizen, you have to speak the native language, right? So, I guess it's fair?
I think we need to get a language, an official language, and then it should be in that. But as of right now, I think it's fair that it's taken in other languages.
Even American citizens who use English as their native language found the test challenging. By choosing to conduct the citizenship test solely in English, the USCIS is constructing a barrier of injustice against naturalization candidates who do not have the adequate means to master the English language. That using an English-only citizenship test inherently creates an injustice to the vast majority of applicants who are not comfortable with speaking the English language. The Catholic Catechism states, "The more prosperous nations are obliged, to the extent they are able, to welcome the foreigner in search of the security and the means of livelihood which he cannot find in his country of origin." The United States is one of the most prosperous nations in the world, yet our English-only citizenship test hinders our abilities to truly welcome our immigrating brothers and sisters to the best of our abilities. The question now is, how do we go about breaking down this injustice? How can we make sure that every applicant has an equal opportunity to achieve success on the citizenship test? In the long run, the best solution would be for the USCIS to offer the citizenship test in whatever language the applicant chooses. To help make this feat possible, contact your legislature and emphasize the need to conduct the test in every applicant's native language. For example, the Diocese of Providence conducts citizenship classes twice a week to prepare legal permanent residents for the citizenship exam. Throughout the class, volunteers perform various activities that help prepare the students for all aspects of the citizenship test. This includes group activities, mock one-on-one interviews, games, worksheets, lessons, and general discussions. Volunteering at a place like this is a great way to personally break down the injustice of the language barrier by helping naturalization candidates to improve their English skills. Helping applicants through the process cultivates a greater understanding of the struggle immigrants endure in attempting to gain their citizenship. It is also a great way to carry out God's desires of augmenting the common good for all and of supporting one another as brothers and sisters in Christ. Johanna Solaris is an immigration case manager at the Diocese of Providence. She is also an integral leader in coordinating the citizenship classes that are conducted at the diocese. By sharing her experiences, Johanna illustrates how working with immigrants and naturalization applicants is beneficial for all parties involved.
Here at the Diocese of Providence, we do citizenship classes. We provide citizenship application forms. We help people who come in general. We provide green cards renewals, work permit renewals. We also do the green cards ourselves. The applications, the processes, we take our clients to immigration offices. We also have refugees. We pick them up from the airport. We take care of them. We train them. We give them the orientation. We help them achieve whatever they might need here in the United States until they're fully able to depend on themselves and integrate in society. The citizenship classes, they entail civics, basic knowledge of the English language, history of the United States, and also history of the citizenship process. From the immigration, from the Progreso Latino, and from the consortium, which is a link of 4 different organizations combined as a consortium to fund all these immigration processes. Students, they are people who come in who are interested on applying for the citizenship. We pick them based on their level of English. If they don't feel comfortable, we kind of like provide them with a mock interview. If they don't feel comfortable answering citizenship questions, if they don't feel comfortable speaking English or they have a brief, very limited knowledge of the U.S. history and government. We kind of like determine who is eligible for to apply for the citizenship at the time, or who should just take the classes and apply later on. So that's how we
And-
evaluate them. They do have to pay. It's $60. Well, language barrier. Basically, that's the biggest challenge that they, according to my knowledge so far, that they have faced. They do learn the history and the government. They do learn the procedures, but when they go to the interviews, they're so nervous because that's their biggest fear, is that not to be able to understand what the officer is asking then, and then not being able to respond appropriately accordingly to the questions that they're being asked because of their language barriers. I would, my personal opinion, I think it will be a lot fair for students or the people who apply in general for the citizenship, for it to be given in their native language. However, it will create, I do understand that it will create kind of like chaos, because there are so many different languages and so many different cultures, so many different countries that people come in from, and just to, looking for a better lifestyle. It will be a little crazy. You will need people there who speak those languages to be able to translate them into English, because you need to keep some sort of data form, amount of people come in and where they come from and all that, those kind of things. So to answer your question, I think it is fair that they learn English, but however, I don't think it should be fair that it's pushed on them like that, to that stream. If that makes any sense.
How do you mean pushed on them?
Well, if the officer in immigration during the citizenship interview feels that the applicant is not fit enough to, doesn't speak English well enough, or doesn't write down a sentence properly according to his understanding in those few minutes, he can totally deny your citizenship application. So I don't think it is fair. I mean, it's $680, plus all the pressure of learning the history of the U.S., the government, learning and practicing a new language within a small, brief, time frame to, it's a very harsh process that they go through. When I know that there are Americans in the United States that were born here that don't know most of the answers that these people need to learn, it's a little complex. I don't know if that, so I'm a little biased. I mean, I do understand it's difficult for the illegal immigrant, for the immigrant that come in and apply for that citizenship, and but it's also difficult for the Homeland Department to actually keep track of, putting it that, assuming that they will provide a citizenship test, and in the people's native languages, it will be really hard for them to keep track of all the processes, the questions. They will need to hire more people. I know they're out of funds and never have money for anything. So it will be a little drastic. It is not. It could be done. I'm not saying it should, if they organize themselves, but I don't think it will be. Most of the students that are here at the diocese, they are, they have, they work in the morning and then they go home, take care of their kids, and then they come here to practice, their little free time. Or they make the time sometimes to, it's hard. I believe the life of the immigrant, it's very complex. It's really, really hard. It's stressful because, they had to learn all these things, and after work, instead of just going home to their families, they, still had to practice and continue practicing. I do know there are immigrants in the United States that have been staying here for years that don't that are not able to speak the language. I think everyone's case is different, and they have their own reasons for that. They try really hard to learn the language. They try really hard to understand the government. Some of the students here don't have a basic education at home from their native countries. Some of them don't even have a high school diploma. So it's super, super, super hard what they go through. But yeah, they continue coming in and continue practicing. Even if they fail, I have students that have registered 3 times consecutively from like 3 different semesters, I should say. And they keep on, they keep applying and they keep taking the classes and they keep repeating until they get it. I have had students who have applied for the citizenship and that have failed 3 times the interview test, and the 4th time they actually do pass it. So they don't give up, which is admirable from their part. It makes me feel great. I think, I love my job. I think uniting families and granting them and helping them to get a better lifestyle, achieve a better lifestyle for themselves and their families, it's amazing. It's an amazing reward. I've seen people cry when they get their citizenship card, or when a father petitions a son or son petitions a father from another country, or when we bring refugees from anywhere in the world. It's an amazing feeling, and it's very fulfilling. I think immigration is like one of the best jobs that anyone can have, because it creates a tremendous impact on people's life. Psychologically, emotionally, culturally, in all aspects. It's fantastic.
On November 29th, 1964, a year after the Second Vatican Council, Mass began to be conducted in the vernacular tongue. The Church chose to allow Mass to be said in any language as a means to foster greater participation and inclusion in the Church. In his homily, Cardinal O'Malley states, "Jesus is showing us that people who belong to God's covenant community show love that is not limited by friendship and propinquity, but a love that has a universal scope and does not look for recompense. Help our brothers and sisters in Christ as they embark on the journey towards U.S. citizenship. Use your own citizenship status to make their plight heard by our political leaders. Share your love, time, and knowledge to help give naturalization candidates a fighting chance to pass the test in English. Language is not universal in scope, but love for a Christian family is."